this week on The Potluck. Back to School 2020. From a student's point of view, we'll be joined by Madison Caldwell, sophomore class president at Parkview High School. What will back to school look like in a coronavirus climate? Join your host, Master Chef Warren L. Booker Jr. via Facebook Live and or YouTube. Bon appetit. Tune in this Thursday at 7:14 p.m. Good day, everyone. I hope everyone is having a great day. Anyone that knows me knows that I really believe in keeping it real and being truthful. And as I say, as I sit here and I smile, it's hard work sitting here and smiling when you consider all that is going on. However, I have praying parents, grandparents, and friends who have been a support system during this tough time for not just myself, but for many. This very unfamiliar territory for many. This unfamiliar place for many. This uncertain place for many. The unknown for many. The experiment for many. But that decision is made by some. However, I believe in consistency, and I plan to be here every Thursday that I can. We have prepared a great show, and again, people. I don't know if people realize I just don't just hop on here and like, hey, let's do it. I mean, it actually takes a little research and getting people so on and so forth. So I definitely appreciate you for listening, and it definitely makes me feel good. I've had some people this week let me know some of the things that I've shared over the potluck, or on the potluck rather, has helped them, and they've applied it. And that makes me feel good. One situation was about EAP. The other situation was about just saying no, and I know that was a recent show. We have a few people in here with us right now. We have 6 people actually. My cousin Deirdre Shante. We have my neighbor Michael Flowers, Nashia, and the other people. I don't know. I don't see you there. But thank you so much for tuning in. So I'm gonna delve right in because I'm exhausted. Last week I told you I was so tired that I had energy, but that's not the case this week. However, our appetizer, of course, this week is the back to school edition, or coronavirus education edition, if you will. And as always, I start out with an appetizer here at the potluck. And the appetizer for today is as follows. Listen earnestly to anything your children want to tell you, no matter what. If you don't listen eagerly to the little stuff when they are little, they won't tell you the big stuff when they are big. Because to them, all of it has always been big stuff. So no matter how big or small you may feel, make sure that you listen. Don't discount your children. The book of Kabbalah for today is Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. R. Kelly told us that, and I know some people don't like him right now. But there are some wise children, so you should listen. There are some old fools in this world, and sometimes the child actually has a better solution than from those who should have a true solution, or a solution that makes sense. How you doing, Dr. Kyle? Thanks for joining in. Okay, so we all know that school is starting back, or school has started back for educators, and students will arrive on Monday. There's been much debate about it. We've talked about it for a while. There have been much to prepare for it, and now it is up on us as soon as Monday, less than a week. And we've heard about this for a long time. We've heard from the person that occupies the White House. We've heard from the governors. We've heard from the various superintendents. We've heard from the parents. And we've heard from the teachers. And now, today's show is going to focus on what a student has to say. Oftentimes, I feel as if adults make decisions for children, but we very rarely include them in it. We base it off our experiences as children, and we have to realize that today we live in a much different world than they are now. So we have a special guest, and she's not on with us right now. She's probably in the waiting room, but I will bring her in here shortly. Um, and then I have a few questions I'm going to ask, and also I'll be looking at any dialogue that you guys may want to ask, and we can just hear from a student's point of view. So with that being said, I've talked about everyone that we've heard from, and just recently we heard from the mayor of Arkansas. I'm sorry, not the mayor of Arkansas, but the governor of Arkansas, and I just want to play a little clip of that, if you will.
Governor, we're hearing reports that Mableville Middle School in the Little Rock School District already has a confirmed case. We're told several staff have been quarantined, but not all staff were notified. So is it worrisome to you that teachers are already testing positive without students there? And do you think schools should notify everyone in the school whenever someone tests positive?
Well, we need to understand that whenever we have increased activity, whether it is the social activities of a community, or whether it is school, or whether it is sports, there's going to be some cases that develop. And so there's no surprise at all. We're not going to get bent out of shape when that happens.
Okay, and I don't know if you heard that last part, but he stated, we're not going to get bent out of shape when that happens. So as we enter, we know that there will be some positive cases, as he says, or some positive cases. We know that there are going to be some people that will get sick, and hopefully no deaths, but that is a possibility. So, and it's known, and yet and still we are going back for face-to-face instruction. So there you have it. Also, just recently, students have not made it back to the classroom, but you can see here in North Little Rock, there are 10 people that have been quarantined from the North Little Rock School District. And now, I'm not saying that those are positive cases, but they have been quarantined, so that means that there is something there. So that goes to show that we are, putting ourselves in a dangerous situation, but some would even say just going outside of your home, you could get shot or things can happen, so on and so forth. But we're educated people. And we're educated people. I'll just put it at that. You can take that how you want to take it. All right, so again, this is my first time ever trying to bring anyone in on the potluck. I'm using the software that I use. Offers that feature. It wasn't working. I tested and tried it for a while, and then they said they worked out the kink, and it's supposed to work. So again, people, today is kind of like a trial and error type situation. I pray to God that it works. I tested it earlier, and it worked. And I'm just hoping that it will work today. But we already know how technology goes. And if for any reason it does not work, I will then end this particular live, and I will just go on Facebook Live in general. And our guest is waiting, so fingers are crossed, and we shall see. Okay, Madison. Let me put my headset in. Okay, Madison, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, it worked, people. It worked. Okay. Alrighty, so who you see before you, and let me get this set up right, and then Madison, I'll bring you in and give you the introduction that you deserve.
Okay.
My beautiful cousin, my beautiful queen, and I can say I've always have seen the potential in Madison, and I'm so proud of the wonderful young lady that she has blossomed into, and it's not finished. We have with us Madison Nia Nicole Caldwell, who is the president of the sophomore class at Parkview High School, located in the Little Rock School District, right here in the wonderful city of Little Rock, Arkansas. Madison, say hey to the people at the table at the potluck.
Hello, you guys.
Okay, they speaking, you just can't hear them, I guess. No. All right, so Madison, you know that we kind of we I had some questions that I sent to you, and I wanted you to look over them. So, and there may be some other things that will come up that was not necessarily there, but I know that you're a bright young lady who is quick on your toes. Um, and as I stated before you came on, I don't know if you were watching, but oftentimes we as adults or people who are in leadership, we make decisions and we make decisions on or for children, and we feel as if that it should work because it worked for us and because we're adults, and it just simply, should work. But oftentimes we never get a chance to hear from the children and from the child, from the teenager. So I am so glad that you can join me tonight, and I'm ever so thankful for that. So we're going to go ahead and delve right in. This has been a long day for me, and I'm quite sure it's been a long day for you, Madam President. Alrighty, so the first question I have for you is what educational option did you choose as it relates to going back to school on August 24th, and why did you choose that option?
I personally chose virtually. As a young kid, I was already diagnosed with asthma. Um,
Hmm.
and with COVID-19 supposedly being a respiratory system, my
Hmm.
lungs are already compacted with asthma. So if I did contract COVID-19, it will be harder for me, to fight the battle to get rid of it because of asthma. So I chose virtually just so I can keep myself safe as well as my family safe as well.
Okay, so you have a pre-existing condition, and that kind of weighed heavy on your decision with that. What part did your parents play in this decision?
Um, my mom being a frontline provider, I knew I knew the outcome that people don't understand that the news is not telling.
Mm-hmm.
With her being the frontline provider, so she gave me all those facts, but ultimately they left the decision up to me.
Okay.
Um, they were very supportive in whichever decision I made. However, they did leave it up to me because, like you stated right before we started answering questions,
Mm-hmm.
adults do make decisions for children that isn't so much, wonderful for their well being.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys think, this is going to work because this is how it's been working. But
Right.
some kids learn better online and some kids learn better in person. And you have to ask your child, is that the best decision for them rather than for me personally?
Okay. So have you ever done online learning before or online
Um,
classes?
when we got out of school March 31st, we immediately went to AMI. That's what they called it at first.
Mm-hmm.
And we were using Google Classroom. However, they shifted to Admentum, and
Mm-hmm.
that website wasn't good at all, to be honest.
Okay.
However, this school year they're talking about using Schoolology,
Mm-hmm.
and with Parkview being having so many departments, the engineering department at our school was already using Schoolology.
Oh,
So
okay.
we know that it works pretty well. It's
Okay.
very similar to Google Classroom, if you ask
Okay.
me.
Okay. So you're comfortable with using this particular software?
Yes, because I'm more comfortable with using Schoolology because I know that it won't fail us as much as Admentum did
Okay.
because classrooms were already using it. It wasn't just like a software that they just created and
Okay.
we were being, the test monkeys, I guess.
Okay, okay, okay. So it's for you're familiar with it. Now, question: you're a sophomore, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you have sophomore, junior, and senior year, and it's known that oftentimes in education, when things change, they very rarely go back to the old. So would you be even after we'll just say after COVID is over and that option is still available of virtual high school or virtual learning? Do you think you would still choose virtual or would you go back to the traditional style learning?
It all depends.
Okay.
Some classrooms you can learn better online.
Mm-hmm.
However, like math and science, you have to interact with those things. Like science, you do science experiments and things,
Mm-hmm.
and math is a hands-on learning topic.
Uh huh.
Therefore, you know, I feel as if you have to, sometimes you do have to go on site. You do have to be in the school to learn better in some topics.
Okay.
However, for me, I prefer to interact with my classmates and things. But with this being so big, COVID-19
Mm-hmm.
affecting lives and, taking people, I knew that virtual would be better for me in this situation. However, going on, I don't too much know about that because I'm a
Okay.
very big interacting person.
Right, right, right. So, because I know that you're very popular. Evidently, you're the president of the sophomore class, and I know that you're very personable. You're outgoing, and I know that and there are other things like I guess face to face that you can experience, even if just being around someone. So that makes a difference. From an educator, I if a student is face to face, it's just a better connection. And I know for a person that may be an introverted, don't like people, that option is better. But I know you probably, want to be a cheerleader, or you want to dance, or you want to do those things. And I think those options are still available to virtual, or will be. But we will just see what the future holds as it relates to education. So the next thing, and of course, I know those questions I just threw at you were not on our list, but I
You're
know that
fine.
I know that you are great. You're very articulate and you're quick on your feet. It kind of just runs in the blood. So I want this to be very organic. The next thing, um, so you are a virtual student. Are there any obstacles that you see, or with choosing this option, what are some of the things that you could see to kind of make this situation maybe hard or challenging?
Okay, so the first obstacles that I thought of was not everyone has used Schoolology, and they haven't given us like any video or anything to know how to use Schoolology.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like Monday is going to be like like some of the kids' first times using Schoolology. I'm
Gotcha.
afraid of that, and I'm
Okay.
also afraid that we won't get the same interaction that the kids that's in the classroom is getting. So it's going to intimidate some kids.
Okay. So it is kind of like the first time for many using it. So, and actually, to provide some comfort, actually, the first week, that's what us teachers are focusing on, just getting our students acclimated and getting used to working Schoology and know how it works and everything. So you can ease your friends' mind and say, "Hey, we're gonna all learn this together." It's our first time using it. For most people, we've never used it before, and we've had a few weeks training, and some for just 1 week on how to use it. So we'll all definitely be learning together. And trust me, a wise teacher will use their student as a resource as well, because you guys are always on your phones. You guys are always using technology. So you guys can definitely be a resource to us. I know that I'm going to be wise, and I'm going to use my students as a resource. And there have been some fun and creative ways too, I think, that we've created our lessons. Also, one thing just for clarity, for our face-to-face or in-person or traditional learning students, actually facilitation of lessons will still be through Schoology. So
Yeah.
they still will be using the same thing. They're maneuvering through the same things that you are. The only difference is, like, if you have a question for me and you're in person, excuse me, Mr. Booker, can you help me with this? Or I don't understand that. Versus you would have to either email me, and sometimes it may not be as instant, but we will get to you as soon as possible. So you're not going face to face. You're a virtual student.
So
So.
I am a virtual student.
Mhm,
However, LRSD just sent out a district letter saying that A through M,
mhm,
if your last name is A through M, that you will be going to school Monday and
mhm,
Thursday, and N through Z, um, Tuesday and Friday, and Wednesday is all virtual so that
mhm.
they can clean up the schools.
Yeah.
However, that did put, you know, that did put a little fear in my heart because I was depending on just staying at home.
Okay.
And I also know that that also threw off a whole lot of people because, like, if your parents were used to, like, already knew you were going to school, they already set plans for you to go to school. And
Mhm.
now that the district has done this, I don't know how it will go for the first week or if
Yeah.
this is more than a week long
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. For right now, it's just 1 week. And I think it's kind of like we're trying this thing out. But it's my understanding if a student is virtual, they're just virtual, period. But they're breaking up the face to face so they can cut down the number of students that are in our classrooms at one time. And on Wednesday will be used as a cleaning day. Now, your teachers will still be there, your teachers will still be available, and education will go for it every day. It's just like, for example, if I was a, which for me, I would be A through M student. So on Monday, of course, I'll be in class. On Tuesday, I will stay at home, but I will still log. I mean, my understanding, I still would go forward and still be finishing my assignments or whatever. But I'm not 100% sure, so don't mark my word on that. Even though, I'm a person that's in the district, it's just kind of like a lot that's going on. So I know that you're you're sophomore class president. So
Yeah.
you're not only concerned about yourself, you're concerned about your other students. So I'm sure that there are some sophomores that are going to be face to face. So what concerns do you have for the face to face learners?
For the face-to-face learners, I'm more concerned about their health. I do know that individuals like teenagers and things,
Mm-hmm.
we're in the classroom 8 hours a day. I know walking in Walmart, the mask has me tired and short of breath. So I can only imagine them having it on the whole 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm concerned about that, as well as concerned if someone does contract COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
how is it ensured that they won't pass it on while they're in class? The classrooms aren't that big to be 6 feet apart.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we're still on top of each other, although we might be spaced out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what if I think I'm just coughing, but it's actually COVID-19, and now I just passed it to this person and this person, and when we switch classrooms, now another person is sitting in my desk.
Right. Right. Well, it's very risky as far as like the coughing and the germs, and I'm quite sure you mentioned Walmart. There are some people who are not doing right. People, and I take it personal, really, because it could affect me, which affects a lot of people. Just today, Madison, I don't know what took over me, but I was in Sam's Club actually purchasing some items for my classroom, and there was a guy who was with his wife. They were entering the store. She put on her mask, and then he got his mask and just waved it at the man at the door because he was reaching to give him a free mask. And then he proceeded to put his mask right back in his pocket. And all of a sudden, I was like, mask, 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 put it on. That's what it's for.
Yeah,
Because I take it personal. And you're a teenager. There are going to be some students who don't want to comply with the rules of wearing one. And that's when it gets kind of crazy. But my understanding, there have been some things put into place. And if they refuse to wear a mask, then they will automatically be sent to virtual. But we will see how that works in the classroom. And you've seen it too. Teachers have fought with cell phones, and we say that they're not allowed, and then you may send someone to the office after trying 3 times, and they still come right back and get on the cell phone.
yes.
So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so there are some concerns, and I know that you have some concerns, and even the students that are returning, they're nervous. The teachers that are returning, we are nervous as well. So this is going to be a very different time in education. I'm quite sure oftentimes teachers never thought that we would even have to wear masks all day in class. Doctors, nurses, you mentioned your mom. I know that she's in the medical field. On the front line, it's kind of like they know that they're going to be dealing with infectious diseases, and they know that they're going to have to wear a mask and PPE. But never did I think that I couldn't wear a nice button down. I would have to wear a mask and a face shield. It's not or a mask and a face shield and goggles and whatever else you may feel. I've even seen teachers with masks that have a tube where it filters air and puts in there because they are very hot. You said you can imagine that. Yes, they are very hot. Your nose is going to feel kind of icky afterwards. Your throat's going to feel dry. And when you get a break, it's kind of just let me breathe. And I mean, it's hard, but we have gotten through a lot more. So I'm believing God that we're going to get through this.
Yeah.
How has COVID-19 or coronavirus impacted your life, just in general, not necessarily with education, but just in general?
The first few weeks of COVID-19, I did have fears like, oh my God, we have a virus that's like killing people. Like, it frightened me a
Hmm.
lot, especially being a teenager. And then I was like, man, we don't get to finish school.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
focused more on, before I knew the knowledge of COVID-19, I was focused more on, interacting with my peers more
Right.
than, being safe. However, going more and more into quarantine and, being safe as I do go out, um, you know, it did get better. My family has gotten closer. We've found ways to bond together,
Yeah.
um, in ways we didn't even think of at first. And it brought so much to light. I feel as if I learned way more life lessons than I would in
Ah.
the classroom. You know,
Wow.
I've learned how to change a tire, do oil. Like, I wouldn't learn that if I was sitting in a classroom.
Right. Cook hibachi. I
So,
saw y'all videos.
yeah, so you learn it. I feel as if a lot of people are learning a whole lot more life lessons, as well as, bringing attention to things that wasn't getting attention in the world at first, like
Gotcha.
movements and everything
Uh,
else. So, seeing how China has been wearing masks for years
mm-hmm.
throughout, um, history, and we didn't know anything about it until we had to start wearing masks. So, just things that we don't really get in the classrooms, and you wouldn't really talk about unless you're just sitting at home and you're tired of asking each other, "What are you doing?"
Right, right, right.
So, yeah, at first it was a little rough, but it has gotten a whole lot better.
Yeah, and I will say this: it was a shock for all of us. It's like, hey, you don't come to school tomorrow. Like, seriously? And we were thinking it was for I think 2 weeks during AMI.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we're not coming back. It all seemed unreal. I mean, I remember that day. My class actually, we had just went to Memphis the day before on a field trip, and never didn't know that that's how our school year would end. I was kind of like, it was just like you were in this relationship with someone and it was going well, and they send you a text message and say, we don't go together no more. It's over. That's what the end
Yes.
of that school year felt like. And you mentioned about like changing a tire and cooking and all that stuff. And I will throw a shameless plug in here. There is a school entitled Metropolitan Career Technical Center located at 7701 Scott Hamilton Drive that offers like all the things that you just mentioned. We could teach you how to change a tire, how to weld. We could teach you about the law. We can get you to be a police officer if your background is squeaky clean and you're able to pass a test. We can teach you how to cook a little bit. So that's just an elective that students in Little Rock School District and surrounding areas have. Okay. All right. Have to throw a shameless plug in for my school. And you mentioned also about movements because not only were we experiencing a pandemic, but
Yes.
we also went through a situation with the Black Lives Matter movement and different other movements and murders and riots and so on and so forth. And I saw some of that stuff on the front line. I mean, I was there at some of it watching from afar because of COVID. I wasn't as involved as I wanted to be because of that reason. But how did that overall, I guess, impact you as a teenager? Or how did it make you view the world now after seeing all of that going on in the world?
It made me more aware of what's going on in the world. It made me, have those educating conversations not only with my parents and family, but also my friends. Like on Juneteenth, my friends and I came together and we made posters, and then fam- our families came together, drove us around, and we hung them up.
Mm-hmm.
Little activities that you normally wouldn't do if
Mm-hmm.
those movements weren't so popular then, as well
Mm-hmm.
as you you normally don't talk about those things. You don't bring
Right.
light to those things. So, actually living through it, not hearing it in history books or through
Right.
videos, you're seeing it in real life. So that was, as scary as it was also so amazing because I'm like, we made history as well. We were in the history
Right.
and learning about it as we go through it. So I feel
Right.
like it was amazing.
Okay. Okay. Cool. 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 And we have Summer Legrand that stated, Summer Legrand Pridgeon, I stand corrected. She said, I was at work one day and the next day we were at home. I really thank my job for being sensitive and involved as it relates to their health. Um, Jedrick Jones stated, Madison, thanks for sharing your thoughts. You are a great representative for your class. Oh, what brilliant and intelligent conversation is taking place. So
Thank
that's
you.
just kudos to you. And I definitely, again, thank you for just accepting the opportunity to speak to little old me. So I think I kind of asked this a little bit before, but do you have any friends that are having to like they have no choice to go in for face to face or in person learning? And if so, how do they feel about that?
Um, yes, I do have some friends like that. I have a couple friends that's going because of home situations,
Mm-hmm.
and I know some friends that's going because at Parkview you have so many departments. You have the science department, and they have two science classes. So you
Mm-hmm.
need that interaction in science. So they have to go back because they're scared if they do go virtual, their grades will plummet.
Okay.
And I have talked to them, and all of them are concerned about their health. You know, you never know if your peer next to you is sick or if they're,
Yeah.
just coughing because, they're coughing. So they fear of that, but I think as teenagers, you do fear of your health, but high school is the year to interact, make
Right.
memories. So I think as teenagers, we're thinking about our health, our education, as well as just interacting.
Right. And you mentioned about high school. I mean, I think about my high school experience and I smile. So many good memories. You know, so many times I thought I was grown. So many things I did that I was not supposed to do. But it all shaped me to be the person that I am today. You know, I couldn't imagine my life without band, you know, being a drum major, Warren Two Smooth Booker. I mean, all of those are great memories, and I do know that it was cut short for the seniors this year. I really felt bad for them with,
Yeah.
the graduation, so on and so forth. And I don't believe that this is going to last always. It will let up. Hopefully, after January or after the election. I ain't gonna say why I think that, but I believe that it will change and it will be safe once again because I do think, I said that to say, I do think the high school years are very important because they shape and mold the adults that we are. And Summer just stated she is so proud of you, Maddie. Um, you're pulling the crowd. I got some new people here at the table with me, so thank you for inviting your fan club as well. And I just have a few more other questions. Also, if there's anyone that's in the chat that have some questions for Madison, you can type them in the comment section, and I will share them with her. If you have some just comments about students going back to school, please be sure to share those in the comment section, and myself or Madison will ask those. Answer those rather. One other question that I have is that and I forgot just that quick. Let me go back to my notes. All right. Do you feel, and as it relates to back to school, do you feel students' opinions were considered in the decision makings or in the decision making of choosing the route of education as we get ready to go back to school? Do you think students' opinions, thoughts were heard and considered in these decisions?
I feel as if their opinions were heard, but not so much considered. If that
Ah,
makes sense.
I understand.
I I feel like they heard us. They heard that some felt like it was more reasonable to go virtual, that teachers were concerned about health and
Hmm.
things like that. But I don't think it was so much considered in making the absolute decision.
Okay.
So, like, I know North Little Rock had 10 cases,
Hmm.
and that was just with the teachers at school.
Hmm.
And then I think it was Horseman. One of the middle schools
Hmm.
got two cases, and that's just with teachers there. So I can only
Hmm.
imagine the curve increasing
Hmm.
rather than decreasing when all the students are let into the classrooms. So
Yeah.
I feel as if they heard us, but not so much considered what we were exactly saying.
Okay.
Especially knowing that over around the world, 90% of teens have caught COVID-19 because they were let back into school.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of the videos where, social distancing wasn't taking place, masks were not being worn. So it makes it very hard. You said something very powerful. You said, I think they hurt us, but they did not necessarily consider us. And I tell people all the time, yeah, I may hear you or you may hear me, but are you listening? Are you listening actively? Because if you're an active listener, that means you're listening to what's being said and you're processing it, and you're going to make a decision based on what you've heard, and that's when you are listening. So I think that is very powerful. We have a few more people that, okay, someone said Madison Latoya James Alexander stated that Madison, you and your peers be encouraged and be safe. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much, Latoya, as well, for wishing us well. Sanitra Stewart stated that my son's senior year was ruined. I tried hard to overcompensate for it. And Sanitra, I do know that that was hard, because it was just, is you can try to compensate, but there's nothing like walking across that stage for those 10 seconds and they're saying your name. I mean, we go to school from kindergarten through 12th grade just for those few seconds. So, and I do know some other districts, they did provide many graduations, for their students. And unfortunately, I know for Little Rock School District, that did not happen. And we are one of the largest districts in the state, and that could have been the reason why. So, um, but hopefully, those students will go to college and they'll get a chance and they'll get a double portion at their
Yeah.
graduation. Um, another question for you, Matt. Well, actually, Madison, is there anything that I maybe didn't cover that you want parents to know, or you may want educators or the superintendent or anybody to know, just from a student's point of view? Just anything that may be in your mind as it relates to education or going back to school.
I do want people to know that wearing your mask is very important. I know a whole lot of teens are like, man, I have to wear a mask. Like, as a teenager, I had to think about, wearing the mask as well as, protecting others. You have to understand that the mask isn't so much to have fashion or, to not let people see your beautiful smile or anything, but it's more to
Yeah.
protect individuals in case you cough. You're not spreading it. It's not going. Your germs aren't going everywhere. And on top of that, don't be discouraged. Like, all of us is going through this. It's new to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If you are having trouble, ask a friend. If that friend can't help you, ask a teacher. You know, if that teacher can't help you, just keep going down the line. Don't give up. I know, when we did get out of school last year, me being then I was the freshman class president. A whole lot of kids were like, man, it's not going to affect my grade if I don't do it mental. I'm not doing it at all then. I want people to know that you have to keep going. You can't give up. And if you feel like you are giving up, ask a friend. I mean, I know we are social distancing, but my friends and I have already been talking about, hey, if you do come over, make sure you haven't been coughing, make sure you've been quarantined, but let's come study together. So if I do get overwhelmed, I can ask you. So
Mm-hmm.
form those groups. You have FaceTime, you have Zoom, you have
Mm-hmm.
all these websites where you can talk to each other. And I know, I just want to say for everyone that's on here, I don't know if everyone here goes to LRSD or not, but I do want, everyone to know my page is PV Patriots 2023. And I'm not only talking about Parkview, but I'm talking about for Central and Hall. As much information I can get from each school, I am talking about. And I want you to know that mental health is very important. Don't feel, you being stressed out or you getting down or discouraged is not important. Talk to your family about that. You feel like you can't talk to your family, go to a friend. It's okay to have counselors. It's okay to go to the school's counselors, to talk to a teacher you can trust. That's very important to, focus on your mental health, especially with not having so much interaction as we normally would.
Hmm.
And also, you're more independent if you are virtual, because you're not able to, immediately raise your hand and ask the
Right.
teacher. So focus on your mental health, wear your mask, and if you feel like you're being overwhelmed, ask a friend, ask a teacher. Those are very important, I feel like, going into this new school year.
I can't drop the mic, but I can move the mic out the way. Because I mean, you've covered so much, and it's so true. Like you mentioned about the mask and being fashionable. I mean, if it makes you feel better, blink it out. I've even seen that there's some options where people you can take a picture of your lips and your teeth smiling, and that could be your mask. Because I realize now how much we pay attention to people's lips to understand, or we look for facial expressions, and it make you feel a lot better. Just to see someone smile. I've ordered clear mask today, so you can kind of see. It's like it's just that connection. It's hard just looking at people's eyes. I feel like
Yeah.
we're walking around like, "Hi, I'm Michael Jackson." So those things you mentioned about mental health, that is so important. There are so many people that are struggling with depression and going through depression because not only has our world changed with COVID, but we've gone through different movements, as you stated, and people are realizing America is what it is, and then you're having to go into situations where you're putting your life at risk. It's a whole lot. Yeah, I had a 5 o'clock appointment today with my therapist, and then a 6 o'clock meeting with another group, and then here. So it's important that that we take care of our mental health, and that's one thing that we're also covering with you guys: social and emotional learning. We have to be well. Teachers need to be well. Students need to be well, and we need to know that it's important to take care of ourselves. And it's not narcissistic for you to think about yourself or to take care of yourself. It is not selfish. You have to be good so you can be good to others. That's important. And then one of the PD trainings that I did attend this week, and it was the most meaningful one. It was called mindfulness for the students and teachers. And one thing he said, because our breathing is being restricted with these masks, and we've also already talked about how you feel when you take it off. But he stated that your breath is the remote control to your brain. So it's important that we just stop. We take the mask off, we get in some clean air,
Yeah.
and just breathe. Think about breathing. Concentrate on breathing, and you will feel your body relax. And I'm so goofy, but I tried those exercises, and it actually did work. So it's like after you breathe good, then your brain can work. Because right now it's being restricted with our masks, but that's what we have to do. I mean, Madison, I am so impressed with you, and I'm so thankful. Your mom even said that mental health is vital to everyone's survival, and it's important that we're all here for one another because Um, we're dealing with something we never dealt with before. Your mom also said, "I'm behind my mask smiling. The whole team down here is cheering for you." Okay, and I will say this, Madison. I know you're probably already doing it, and you're already doing check-ins. And before we end, I want you to give your information again for individuals to follow you. But I just saw the inspiration that you're giving to your fellow patriots and the different students in LRSD. But it's important that we encourage one another because this is something new. It's the unknown. And I can say my village this week could tell that I was going through. And I mean, the texts, there were inboxes, there were my best friend sent her favorite song, which is a song that is now my favorite song. Just things to just uplift. And that's needed.
And
That is
those
needed.
Yes, and those simple texts, those two words are, well, those three words, "Are you okay?" Those are very
Hmm.
important to send to your friends. And you know, we when we're at school, you don't really pay attention to your friends, or when you're at home, you don't, and you're doing your schoolwork, you don't really think about them. But make sure everyone is checking on their friends, especially parents with small children.
Hmm.
Even small children can get stressed out. So make sure they're okay. Spend time with your family. Spend time with, you know social distance, but also, spend time with your friends. Don't shut yourself in if you're virtual, and even when you're at school, don't shut yourself in, but
Right.
also still be safe.
Right, because I think that you can maybe become depressed because it's like everything is refined or you confined rather, and then you don't want to go outside and days have passed and you probably haven't even washed your tail, and then the weekend is here, you don't feel like going anywhere, you're ordering food in, and a person can possibly end up, getting depressed. So that's very good. Information to give someone. And one thing that we didn't cover real quick, and then if there's nothing in the chat, we'll get off. But we haven't talked about the pre-K or the preschool children, because I don't have any children and you don't have any children. However, I have a niece and nephew, and it was hard for my sister to make that decision of whether to send them to school or not, and that was a hard decision. And at first, she was going to send them back. I wasn't okay with it, but I'm not a parent, and but she changed her mind because of the simple fact it's so risky. And small kids do not have to wear a mask. Forget data. I know kids are kids. I mean, but they wipe their nose and think nothing of it. I've seen grown people digging in their nose in traffic and wiping it and putting it in their mouth. So a child, I can expect them to do that, not an adult. But not only is COVID-19 is there, we don't know what this flu season will hold. We don't know what this cold season will be like, or the combination of both. So that's very risky. And like with them, they wear their mask. Kelton and Cadence, I mean, when you put on your mask, Unc, or they put theirs on, and then people don't have it. They are so trained. They say, "Ooh, Unc, they don't have on their mask. They're gonna get sick." But and they're
Yes.
kids, and they know this, and some adults don't get it. However, if I was afraid if they were placed in an environment where other kids are not required and not wearing them, then who wants to be different? They were going to eventually take theirs off. So that's, I understand data and I hear data, but I still do have fear for the pre-K children, and this no option. One other question for you, and I'm kind of asking you to, to tap into your uh, profitability or just kind of prediction, if you will. But do you think that this school year will continue with face-to-face learning and virtual option, or do you feel as if eventually things may get worse, or a decision is made to change their mind where everyone goes virtual?
Um, Seeing how it has impacted other schools around the world, I can only imagine how our curve will increase rather than decrease. I feel
Hmm.
as if everyone will eventually go to virtual. That's why they're already, if you are on site, they're already getting you logged into Schoology, using Schoology because they feel as if we're all going to go virtual.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
You're such
So
a smart young lady.
thank you.
Yeah, you are. And actually, I'm looking in the comment section. I don't see any more comments here in the section, but I do. I mean, if there's anything else that you want to share, you can do that at this time. And also, if I want you to also give the information so our people here at the potluck and some of your fans already here that can follow you on your social media platforms.
Um, I also want to state that a vaccine is coming, and although I am a teenager, my mom is in the medical field. Um, the vaccine is your opinion. However, I am about to state my opinion.
Hmm.
My family is not taking it. You have to take in consideration that COVID-19 is going around, flu is going around. They're going to try to get a vaccine for both of them. And you never know if they're going to try to combine the vaccine or anything. And plus, it takes years to create vaccines, not a year that the coronavirus has been here. So, you never know. I just want to put that knowledge out there for you guys because I've heard that knowledge from my mom.
Hmm. Right.
So, just, research the vaccine and make sure you know what you're putting into your body.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then one other thing, what are your future plans, Madison, as it relates to a career?
I plan on being a radiologist or something way outside the medical field, being
Okay.
you know, like something in the news or theater, field. One of
Okay.
those, medical
Okay.
or theater. Yes.
Okay. And I know that I made a promise to you years ago. Of course, COVID kind of stopped any productions. I had to cancel a production twice. because of COVID. But when we get up and running, I promise you, I will let you shadow me or even be my assistant director on some projects. I want to go ahead and knock out my open mic night, have a film, I have a play. So we'll definitely be working. I even have some people that have contacted me over the break who want to invest. So that's a little money. So I'm excited about that. And again, just share with us your social media platform information, and then we will be able to end this episode of the potluck. And I'm so proud because you're the first. This is the first time we've ever done video conferencing. So I'm very, very excited. We've done telephone, now we've done video. So only God knows what's next. But yeah, just share your social media information so we can follow.
On Instagram and Facebook, it's PV Patriots 2023.
Okay.
Again, PV Patriots 2023. And I want to state, I know that states that that's for sophomore class and that is for Parkview. But I'm also putting out information for Hall and Central, as much information that I can get from any school in LRSD. And also, every Friday at 6, we host a Talk Back to Me where, I give out information that's going on in the school district. I give out Q&As, and I also bring guests in. So, teenagers that have companies like selling lip gloss or bracelets or anything, I also let them come in and talk about their business. So it's not so much, giving out knowledge, but we also have fun with it. So that's Friday at 6, every Friday. So come tune in. It's on live. And I also save it on IGTV if you miss it.
Okay, great. And again, Madison, thank you so much for joining us here today. Sometimes people worry about our future or what this generation, but seeing you is just confirmation that there are still some level-headed youth and there are some smart youth, and we're going to be okay. We had knuckleheads while we were in school and when we were young as well. So again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule. You're still out of school as of right now. Tomorrow is your last official day off. So I just thank you for taking 53 minutes out of your day to share with little old me. And I'm quite sure that you provided some light on this situation to everybody. And typically our views are about maybe 300 to 500 every week. So the information that you share will reach many. So if there's nothing else, that's all that I have. And to all of our people have joined in here at the potluck, I just want to thank you for joining in. And I will see you again on next Thursday. Until then, have a great day. Madison, say with me, bye-bye to our people here at the potluck.
See you guys later.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Alrighty, she's speaking to you. Alrighty, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Have a great night, everyone. And again, thank you so much, Madison.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.